Do you ever feel like your head is about to explode from thousands of thoughts that simply won't stop? What if I told you that the secret to permanently healing that exhaustion lies within a single full glass of water? Look at the life of Marco, and you might just see yourself. Marco was a 24-year-old young man living in a private hell that no one else could see. On the outside, he appeared normal, but internally, his mind was like a storm that never ceased. He was held prisoner by the fragments of a sad past and the ghosts of worries about the future. Every night, while the rest of the world slept, Marco remained awake, his mind restless and full of thoughts. He had forgotten the feeling of a genuine smile or the taste of a good meal because his mind was always occupied with uneasy and tired reflections. This constant mental noise made him feel as though he were a traveler carrying an entire mountain on his shoulders. In the midst of his despair, Marco heard of a faraway village in the hills where a wise old man lived. This man had once been a famous psychologist in the city who had helped countless people find peace before retiring to a quiet life close to nature. With one final spark of hope, Marco decided he must go and meet that old man. The journey was long and tiring, stretching over many days, but Marco did not falter. Upon reaching the greenery-covered house, he found the old man sitting quietly on the porch. The elder looked very peaceful, with his eyes closed, radiating a level of tranquility that made Marco tremble. Marco approached and spoke softly. "Grandfather, my mind is very restless. I cannot stop thinking. I want peace in my heart. Can you help me?" The old man slowly opened his eyes and gave a calm smile. He told Marco that to find peace, he must first complete a small task. He led Marco to his yard and filled a glass with water completely full to the top. The glass was so full that even the slightest tremor would cause it to spill. The old man handed it to Marco and gave the instruction: "Walk from here to the edge of the village and then come back. But remember, you must not spill even one drop of water." Marco began his walk, and suddenly, the world around him transformed. The narrow and busy road became a gauntlet of distractions. Shopkeepers were calling customers, dogs were barking, and people were walking and running all around him. However, Marco did not look around. His eyes stayed only on the glass. He moved slowly and carefully, step by step, with every muscle in his body tensed to maintain absolute balance. His breathing synchronized with his movements. The noise of the world, the shouting, the barking, the chaos, seemed to vanish. For Marco, the entire universe had shrunk down to just him and the surface of the water. After what felt like an eternity, Marco returned to the porch. He stood before the old man, drenched in sweat but triumphant, and said, "Grandfather, I did it. I didn't spill even one drop of water." The old man nodded and asked a piercing question. "That's good. But tell me, did you see the children playing? Did you hear the dogs barking?" Marco, bewildered, replied, "No, I didn't see or hear anything. I was only focusing on the glass." The old man smiled gently and revealed the secret. When your mind stays in the present moment, then there is no space for fear, no confusion, and no extra thoughts. He explained that while Marco was focused on the water, his mind became completely quiet because he was no longer sad about the past or afraid of the future. Marco bowed his head as the realization washed over him like a light. He finally understood that peace is not something we find outside. Peace is already inside us when we live in the present moment. As the sun began to set, casting its last light over the ground, Marco began his journey home. But he was no longer the restless young man who had arrived. He had changed. He was now peaceful inside because he finally knew how to quiet the storm by staying anchored in the now. You see, our lives are just like that full glass of water. If you are constantly preoccupied with sadness about the past or worries about the future, the water will spill and your mind will remain in a storm. Learn to empty your mind and focus entirely on the present moment. That is when you find true strength and real peace. If this story touched you, please share it to spread tranquility to everyone around you. Engage with us. Are you carrying a glass full of anxiety right now? Please share your thoughts in the comments below.